Hi, I'm Brian Elliott. Welcome to another edition of Behind the Brand. Today I'm here live at CES in the Panasonic Creator Studio with creator Joey Graceffa.
That's right, hello.
Joey, thanks for coming by.
Thank you for having me.
Joey, I usually ask my guests, how'd you get this job?
Oh gosh, wait, which one? There's so many.
How'd you get started making YouTube videos?
Okay. I started when I was 15 years old. I was in high school. I had already been making home videos. And then finally I got my first Sony DVD cam. And because of that, I was able to upload onto my computer. And then I was already watching YouTube videos. So I was like, oh, I should just start posting my videos on there. And then 9 years later, I'm still doing it. And it's my job.
A lot of people who watch this show, they're just getting into creating their own stuff, whether it's written content or podcasts or YouTube channels, whatever. What advice would you give people getting started?
Well, it definitely doesn't happen overnight. I mean, for me, it took me a few years to figure out what worked, what didn't work. So I would just say get into it, learn what other people are doing, and just experience it, and then find your own voice on YouTube, and eventually something will happen, and yeah.
So what didn't work at first?
It didn't work. I mean, I was 15, so my videos were not that good, so I had to get experience and learn how to make videos.
But what didn't make them good, you think? Because I think a lot of people.
My experience.
This is where people get stuck, right? They think, oh, who am I to make these cool videos? I'm not like Joey or Justine or any of these, people who've been doing it for a long time. And I think they get stuck.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you definitely don't want to be too rough on yourself. I mean, my first videos are nothing I'm extremely proud about. So, yeah, again, it just takes time for you to find your own voice and figure out what works for you.
Yeah. What was that learning curve? So you started at 15, and when do you think you really kind of had that tipping point? Oh, give us some context too. How many subscribers do you have now, and kind of when did it really start to tip?
I think it was 2013. 2012, 2013 is when I went from 250,000 subscribers to 2 million in half a year. So it was a big jump in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
So it was really when I started doing daily vlogs that it really started picking up, and also collaborating with a few other YouTubers and sharing each other's audiences is when.
Yeah. I want to unpack that a little bit. So there's two different things. That's super, it's subtle, people might miss it. So there's collaboration, and
right.
YouTube's always been about collaboration, but I want to talk about, how did you, how do you meet other YouTubers? I think a lot of people want to know that. LA is obviously the mecca, everyone's moving there, but not necessarily. We're seeing people in Utah and on the East Coast and all over making stuff. How do you find these collaborators?
I mean, I find most of my friends through Twitter, but before that it would mostly be conventions like VidCon playlists, places like that where you can meet the creators and other people who are there just walking the floor.
Yeah, like-minded people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, so and then you become friends and you say, hey, we should do something together, and then you make an awesome video and it goes crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's a super smart strategy. It's it helps amplify what you're doing. How much are you using other social platforms to kind of be little outposts that you invite people into your YouTube channel? I assume YouTube channel is your main.
Yeah, YouTube, and then Twitter will be a ways to connect with my audience on a day-to-day level, and then also promoting my videos and projects that I'm working on, because it's so instant and a status update. It reaches people a lot quicker than having to create a video, edit, post, upload. Oh, post and upload are the same thing, but you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to know what other platforms that you're using that have been successful to help promote other things. So I know you had a book come out last year in the summer. Did you use were you on Snapchat? Were you Instagramming that stuff?
No, I don't Snapchat, but I do Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you're getting a lot of engagement. Is it easy to answer your fans, or is it pretty much just here's what I'm doing and you can come along for the ride?
Yeah, it's a mixture of both. I mean, I don't really respond to Instagram comments because they're kind of the mean ones. But I definitely respond a lot on Twitter and my YouTube comments.
So YouTube is nicer than Instagrammers.
Yeah.
Interesting. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I feel like on Instagram, your photos reach like, sometimes it'll get on the popular page and then it's reaching a new audience that doesn't know who you are. So then those are the people that are just like not actually fans. They're just people who like
Saw something float by in the stream.
Right.
Okay. I gosh, that's interesting. And then you're using Twitter.
Yeah.
And okay, let's go back to how you're creating content and why you're talking about kind of the strategy. Like, how do you come up with these ideas? And is there a strategy behind it, or is it like?
Yeah, there's definitely a strategy. I mean, I post. First of all, I mean, it's good to have a schedule. So I post like every day around 1 o'clock.
So why 1 o'clock?
I mean, I think of it because my audience is a lot younger. I think of it as like kids on the East Coast getting home from school. It's still early enough in England, and in California, like eventually they'll get home from school and watch my videos.
Yeah.
So there's that. Also, just like figuring out what's popular right now on YouTube. Like challenges are popular, trying weird stuff is popular. There's like certain things that are doing well.
Social experiments.
Yeah, exactly. So with my channel, it's easy because it's a variety channel. I'm not locked into one thing. So I'm not limited to having to keep doing the same thing over and over again, which is nice because it's freeing. And
so you're actually doing the research yourself.
I mean, again, it's just being in the YouTube community and like being in it and seeing what's working for other people.
Yeah. That's really cool because I think maybe the perception is once you kind of hit it big like you've done, that now you've got people.
No.
You're still very much hands-on.
It's tough. Like being a YouTuber, it's not like your audience is going to follow you forever, so you need to keep creating new followers by doing different things.
Yeah.
And I think that's where some YouTubers get stuck, is they just keep doing the same thing over and over again. And if you want to grow, you have to keep mixing it up.
What mistakes have you made? Let's go back to that a little bit. And then I also want to talk about long form and short form. So like, I think you generally can say the answer is it depends, right? Like, you know, if you go to a Netflix and you're watching something like a House of Cards, you could easily put that on as a web series on YouTube and it could kill.
Yeah.
Because the content's great. But talk to me about how you have kind of honed in on what your audience wants and figuring out the right, you know, time. You talk about frequency, but how long something should be. How do you feel about long form, you know, whether that's 10 minutes or 20-minute piece on YouTube?
Yeah. Honestly, like, people like long content, especially for my gaming channel. I've noticed that people want longer episodes, and they're already 20 minutes. So people are like, oh my god, do an hour-long episode. I'm like, an hour? Okay. So, I mean, there's definitely that need for and want for longer content. As far as series-wise, I created a web series called Storytellers 2 years ago, and it was 6 episodes, and I felt like that was a strong amount. I don't think anything more. I would stop at 10 max, I think, for a YouTube series, just because by that time there's going to be a lot of fallout.
So 10 episodes or 10 pieces.
Yeah.
All right, that's interesting.
That's strong.
Yeah. That's good advice. So now you're developing something else right now, right? A new original series?
I'm working on a murder mystery series with YouTube Red.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, what's the process? Walk us through that. What's your role and how hands-on are you?
Well, it's kind of like, like I want my hands in everything, but there's still some stuff that I don't want, like I'm gonna have control over.
Like what?
Well, I don't know what I'm allowed to talk about, but
we won't tell anybody. Just you and me.
yeah, I mean, there's just like, I mean, of course, there's some things that I'm just not as experienced with that the other people involved in the project know more about on stuff. So.
But talking about like the technical aspects of, you know, holding the camera or editing the piece.
Well, I'm definitely not doing that part. No.
Well, but so, and I think people who watch this, they assume that YouTubers are doing everything.
Yeah.
But it's another good message that you know where to delegate. Like, okay, I'm strong in this area, but you're stronger in this area, so you're
exactly.
Yeah. So you're overseeing the project. Talk about the process. Like, are you storyboarding stuff out and doing it kind of Hollywood production style, or is it like run and gun, make it up like Freddie Wong song does, it's all in his mind and he just gets there and he does it.
Well, no, it's definitely not that. There's definitely a lot of, for this specific project, there is a lot of pre-production involved. But it's definitely like a very cool creative process because anything that I imagine, I just tell them and then it's on paper.
They make it happen. So you're the visionary then?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. This original series, it's a collaboration with YouTube, right?
Yep.
So that's a little bit of a separate deal. A lot of creators want to know, how much should I be spending? How much should I be budgeting? Like what should it cost? What do you think, people should be spending on an episode of something that they're doing? Time, effort. Is it a couple $1,000s?
No.
Is it 50 hours a day?
No.
I mean, a week? Is it?
Honestly, I think the best is when you spend $0 on a video. I mean, all you need is your camera and you, and that seems to do the best. I feel it's easy. Everything can be like a profit. But I mean, there's always projects that you want to like indulge in. Like for me, I've done short films and the web series where it's almost like an investment. Oh, also music videos.
So you hire a team, production people, and
yeah.
Like, give us what do you think a reasonable budget is to take a risk and try something like that?
I mean, it all depends on your audience size. Like for me, I kind of have an idea of what the views are going to be like on a project like that. But also, like, if you do a music video, you can maybe do a little bit more of a budget because you can put the song on iTunes and there's different ways to gain back.
Yeah.
So it depends on the project.
Yeah. I want to go back to the F word, failure, because I really think it gets a lot of people stuck. Whether it's analysis paralysis, like you're too concerned about it being the perfect video or looking great. How important is it becoming to really level up on your quality or level of production? We're shooting this in 4K.
Yeah.
YouTube announced this week at CES, the HDR, kind of, the better quality. All of that's kind of a push. What's your feeling about it?
I mean, I think it's definitely going to be a bit of a like adjustment for people. People don't like change, especially on YouTube. People like freak out. But I definitely see it moving more towards that as people's like quality like increases. But it's definitely just something that the audience is just going to have to get used to.
Yeah. And what advice would you give people who, have that fear of failure, who get kind of stuck in that? How long do you give that great idea that you've got? If because maybe you're not getting traction right away, or you're not getting the likes, or
Right.
It can be really frustrating. Like, I'm trying to find my audience, but I'm not finding them.
Yeah.
I know my voice, but no one's listening.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a frustrating process for sure.
Yeah. What do you say?
I mean, you just have to keep going. Like, definitely don't give up. If I gave up, like, I wouldn't be where I am today. But like, just know it's going to take time.
Yeah. Do you consider yourself an entrepreneur?
Yeah.
So, do you think entrepreneurs are born, or do you think it's something that we can learn?
That's an interesting question. I don't know. For me personally, it was like I always wanted to do, like I wanted to be an inventor, and then I wanted to always do like my own stuff. Like,
did you have an idea for an invention?
I feel like I watched this episode of Zoom, which was like this old kids show, and I wanted to create like a cereal maker, like a poured your own cereal and stuff. And then I was like, this is too difficult. I need to find something easier to do.
Yeah. So going back to the born or learned.
I guess I would say like it's a mixture of both. Like I'm sure there's a lot of people that are born entrepreneurs, but I feel like anything's possible in life, and if you're not born a certain way or like specific like ideas in your head, then I think it can be learned.
Yeah, I asked this because I've asked almost everyone I've had on the show the same question, and my personal opinion is I think people are born with a certain DNA, hardwired to be an entrepreneur. I mean, it's not easy, right? You have to be willing to take risks, and some people are just not comfortable with that. It really is, you don't have the gut to do it, and that's where you
Yeah.
feel it sometimes when it's not working out. It's like, I can't stomach this anymore.
Yeah. And I'm sure a lot of people kind of fall into like the structure of like a I don't know, just something where they have structure to their life. Sometimes that's good for them.
Yeah, they want stability over other things, right? That's like what they value most. Yeah. So, I think those people who are comfortable with being uncomfortable are in a better position to succeed, because it really is a last man standing contest, right? Sometimes that overnight success takes 10 years, right? And those who can stick it out, like you, you're winning. But it takes a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. What are you most proud of?
Most proud of? I came out with a book last year. I think that's one of my biggest accomplishments because it got on New York Times bestseller. But aside from getting that recognition, I think it was really cool to get my story out there. It was an autobiography about my life so far. And that was just really cool because I know that it helped a lot of kids struggling with similar issues that I was dealing with growing up.
Like what?
Dealing with an alcoholic mother, coming out as gay, dealing with bullies. So it was just nice to just show people that like stuff happens and life's not perfect, and just someone to relate to.
Was it difficult for you to talk about that even on your YouTube channel?
Yeah, it was definitely a process, but...
And what were you most afraid of? The backlash or...
No, not the backlash. I guess it was just being so open about like my life experiences and stuff. I mean, I definitely didn't want to hurt anyone like involved in that stuff. So that was always scary.
Yeah, we recently had pro soccer player Robbie Rogers on the show, and Robbie wrote that book too about coming out and telling his story. And now he's a professional athlete, you know, in very much a machismo, testosterone-filled locker room, and he was hearing people saying awful things about his lifestyle, but eventually, you know, found the courage to do that, and it was like the best thing he ever did.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the hardest thing you've ever done?
Hardest? The Amazing Race.
That's right.
Very difficult.
Talk to me about that experience. I just remember that, as you said, it was like, oh yeah. Was that super fun?
It was. It was really fun, but definitely very challenging.
Why didn't you win?
I mean, I think about that every single day.
Whose fault is it? Come on.
It was a mixture of mine and my teammates.
Okay.
Honestly, we were just tired. We were in a foreign country, and we just weren't thorough enough with our flight buying skills. We thought we had a good ticket, so we settled, and then the rest of the teams went and found a better flight, and we screwed ourselves over.
Final words. Maybe look in this camera and like it's a heart-to-heart. You're talking right to the YouTube community. Give some of these new creators advice about, you know, what to do, how to do it. You know, just give maybe some parting words of advice.
All right, so for all you YouTubers out there, I guess my biggest advice would just be start creating content. Like, I know it's kind of scary, but you have to start somewhere, and don't like get too upset if your video doesn't turn out the way you want. Just keep creating and you'll eventually learn what's right for you. It's something that takes time, and you will definitely grow. Like, I mean, practice makes perfect, so the more you practice, the better you'll be.
All right, we've been spending a little time with creator Joey Graceffa. Joey, thanks for being on the show.
Of course, thank you.
Thanks, man.
Yes.